Hey crafters, welcome into Guys Craft 2. My name is John,
And I'm Curtis.
and there's Curtis in the back today. So thanks for dropping in. Thanks for being here today. Hey, Lawayne, I see he is already on. So hopefully everyone has had an amazing weekend. Hey, Barb. So we had a big day yesterday. Hey, Joydy, with Derby. And you didn't bring your hat, did you?
I did.
Look, so we had a Derby hat contest yesterday. We didn't participate in the contest since we were the sponsors,
I
right?
can go get mine. Right in the other room.
But this was the hat that we put together. So, Derby is a big deal. I grew up in Kentucky, so always fun to celebrate the Derby. Being on the West Coast, it's funny to see people out here that just don't understand the Derby. It was interesting. I had to stop at our local spot.
What do I have to do? Put my head down?
Yeah, a little bit. Turn. There you go. So Curtis did all black and white yesterday with black and white polka dots. So, so we had an interesting day, but it was funny. I ran up to the store here in town, which is mostly seniors, right? And it's all good. And I'm buying cups and a few things for the party. And the lady goes, "Oh, I guess you're going to have you're having a big party." And I said, "Well, yeah." I said, "We're having a Derby party." And she goes, "Well, I'm not sure what that is." I said, "The Kentucky Derby. It's like a horse race." She goes, "Well, I wouldn't know anything about that. I don't know those things." I was like, "Oh my gosh!" It was the 150th run of the Kentucky Derby, so I would have thought you'd almost have to be living under a rock to not have ever heard of the Kentucky Derby, but that's okay. It was all good. So we had about what 25 people yesterday.
Yes. Yeah.
We played games yesterday. We played a fact and fiction game on the Kentucky Derby, which, by the way, one of the facts is it is the longest continuous sporting event, I think, in the world.
Yes, it is.
So yesterday was the 150th running. A few folks thought that maybe in what 1931, 32, the Depression stopped the Derby. It did not.
They thought COVID did too.
They thought 1941, 42 that the war had stopped the Derby. It did not. And then was it 2020?
Yes.
So they thought in 2020 that COVID had stopped the Derby. And actually, the Derby was postponed instead of running in May like they normally do. It didn't run until September of that
September.
year.
Yeah.
And I think it ran without spectators.
Yes, it did.
So it was different, but it still ran in that year. So it is the longest continuous sporting event. So kind of crazy. So, but we had a really good time yesterday. We had friends over. They brought in some appetizers. We had pulled pork barbecue that I made. And then, of course, we had mint juleps. We had bourbon slush. And we love our Jimmy Buffett Margaritaville maker. And Curtis got to have
Oh, strawberry daiquiris.
strawberry daiquiris with fresh strawberries.
Yeah.
So, but we all had a good time yesterday. So it was kind of cool. So I appreciate y'all dropping in. Any new faces here? Thank you so much for joining. We are like 815, 816 subscribers. We started our channel late June, August last year. Had no idea that we would ever get 50 subscribers, and now we're over 800 subscribers. And you know what? We just appreciate each and every one of you and dropping in, listening to us rattle on and chat, and just having a good time. So, quilting wise, what are we working on? I want to finish sewing out today. Um, these panels, getting these put together, both for the University of Louisville, for the Marines, and actually, that's the quilt behind me is the Virginia Tech. So now I've got these squares put together. Now I need to sew them this way, and then I've just got to go back and put the borders on, and then that will be ready again for Gracie over here on the long arm. And we'll figure out at some point when Gracie's gonna start working. So what's going on in chat, Mr. Curtis?
Nothing really. Everyone is Barb just said that there's 150 years. Wow, she didn't realize that the Kentucky Derby was that old. And Lorraine said, "Of course you had mint juleps." Of course, yes, we will. And Joy said, "Sounds like a great time. And if she wins the lottery, she's moving there." And Lorraine was about to comment on it as well. So we're caught up with everything.
All right, good deal. Well, guys, thanks for joining in. Barb says Gracie is feeling lonely. She probably is. I mean, it's so sad. Like, if you all remember, this was one of the kits that we got. I think it was from Open Gate. I did manage to get this done prior to Valentine's Day. Got frustrated and decided instead of waiting on little Gracie, I just went in to the handy quilter that the sit down long arm, got it long armed, and I've yet to still get it trimmed and the binding put on. So you know what? It will happen at some point. But you know what? How cool is this going to be next year for Valentine's Day? So see, I am actually now what 10 months ahead, 9 months ahead. So instead of saying this was for 2024, this is a table runner for 2025, and I am just that far ahead of everybody else. So we shall see. It's just amazing. And it doesn't help that I get easily distracted. Curtis knows that I have multiple projects and I have multiple things that I like to work on. And it doesn't take much to usually distract me.
Mona did what is in the chat.
Hey, Mona. Thanks. Welcome to our channel. I think it's the first time you've been on a live with us. And thanks for being here today. So, it's really been hard for us to figure out what makes sense for us and still trying to fit in a time for our channel. We seem to like this 4 o'clock slot. For us, this is 4 o'clock Arizona time, which makes it crazy because we never change time. So part of the year we'll be 3 hours behind East Coast, and part of the year will be 2 hours behind East Coast. So how crazy is that? But that said, this seems to be working out as a pretty good time for us. Next week we will actually be in Star Valley up in our park home. So hopefully we will be live up there next week,
Hopefully so.
and we can share some of that with you all. So, Luane said Sunday is a busy day for everyone. This is his 4th one today. So,
Jean E is in the chat now too. She says hi.
Hey, Jean, thanks for joining. We hope all of you have had a pretty amazing weekend and that you all are settling in, thinking about what's going to happen tomorrow. A lot of us have to go back to that daily grind. But you know what? It's that daily grind that pays for me to have all the toys that I have, and pays for me to be able to play and do the things that I do. And I've told you all before, I'm very fortunate. I work for an amazing company. I have a great job, but you know what? I would still much rather be home full time and doing other things. But unfortunately, as I used to tell my father, he did not born me rich, so I've always had to work for what I wanted, and that's okay too. There's nothing wrong with that. I had a pretty good father growing up. Oh, Quilting with Stephanie Stitches is on. Hey, Stephanie, how are you doing?
There she is. I was just getting ready to say that.
Yeah,
She says, "Oh, hey there, we caught you live." So this must be her first time.
Yeah, Stephanie has a really great channel. We like to watch Stephanie. We learn a lot from her. As you know, new quilters, there's so much that we need to learn, so much that we need to do, and we're slowly getting there. But it's people like Stephanie that have the experience and have been so willing to share that experience with us that makes it possible for us to do what we do. And one of the reasons we started our channel was just to say, hey, there's a lot of experience out there, and we are learning so much from that experience. but at the same time, don't be scared to jump into this. Because, by the way, I went and bought a sewing machine, not knowing how to sew. And worse is I bought a used sewing machine and found out it was really difficult to find someone that would even give me lessons. Fortunately, I found a place here in Sun City called the Sewing Asylum. And Erica was amazing. She went through, she actually happened to be a Bernina ambassador years ago. So she helped me get my first machine set up, showed me all the different functions on it, and got me comfortable enough that I could push fabric through the machine and not sew my finger, because that was always my biggest fear. And to date, knock wood, I have not. Let's hope I never do. But it was just crazy. So that's the type of people we are. We decide we want to do something, so we just go out and go for it.
Here she asked how the party was.
Oh, hey, Katrina. We had an amazing party yesterday. People showed up around 2 o'clock. They were here about 3.5 hours.
Yeah, about 3.5 hours, and we also celebrated a friend of ours. Her name is Peggy. Her birthday was Friday, the 3rd, and we surprised her with a birthday cake, and all the guests, which are all of our friends, including Peggy's friends as well too. We all got together and we sang happy birthday and had a slice of cake after the Derby run. So it was fun.
So we multitasked yesterday. So we had birthday party, a derby party. We just had it all wrapped into one big enchilada yesterday. And then today we went out and had Mexican for Cinco de Mayo. So we actually found a new Mexican place because I really do enjoy Mexican. Curtis, not as much, but I do enjoy my Mexican. And we actually found a new place close that was pretty amazing. So hopefully we've now kind of found a go to. Because I will tell you, all of a sudden, it seems like Mexican places have been difficult to find, and the ones that we have found have been super, super expensive. So I think I'm happy with what we found today. So we will see if we can continue with that trend. All right. Mhm. Oh, Katrina said they had smoked barbecue. Yeah, I'd lucked out because our grocery, a couple of months ago, sold pork tenderloins, buy one get one free. So I got like a 3.5 pound, almost 4 pound pork tenderloin for like $18. Well, then I got one free. So we had already made pork roast out of the other one, and so this one I actually put in a crock pot yesterday with barbecue sauce and chicken broth and apple cider vinegar and a little bit of brown sugar, and then a rub that I had on top of it, and let it just simmer along in the crock pot for about 6 hours, and then took it out and pulled it apart, and it went over really well yesterday. I got a lot of compliments on it. So it's so nice when you put stuff in the crock pot. It just makes it so easy, and you really do get some good tender meats out of there because it does just sit and um, absorb all those juices and that, and really comes out pretty well. Oh, Katrina says she forgot to get something out for dinner. I understand. Fortunately, we had leftovers, so we are planning to. We'll have a few. We had meatballs yesterday. We had a bunch of stuff yesterday. So since we already had Mexican for lunch today, we will be doing something a little bit easy for dinner tonight. And I would say we'll probably end up with a few leftovers for lunch tomorrow, too. We're not really big leftover people normally, but that seems to be right now. You're getting into summertime, too. So it just seems to be um, that type of environment, right? So that is going on. Low and slow, it's the way to make the meat tender, right? It does make all the difference. It's just so funny. I have friends that have Instapots and that. I have an Instapot. I've tried the Instapot. Um, I don't know. It's just not the same to me. I've never been a big pressure cooker type person, so I don't use my Instapot very often. There was a diced chicken recipe with rice-a-roni that I would make in it sometime, but I don't know the last time I've made that. So it is always something good though. And we try to not eat out as much. I tell you what, eating out has gotten so expensive. It's just been crazy anymore. What people want for eating out. All right, and guess who ran out of bobbin thread? That's never any fun, is it? All right, so we can do this and multitask. So see now comes the real test. Can I continue to talk? Focus on what's going on.
Dwayne says that he still has an instant pot, still in the boxes, and he has yet to use it. He keeps using the crock pot.
Yeah, crock pots are just so easy. I've got friends that swear by their Instapot, and they work all the time. But it's like I don't know. It's just it never has seemed as good to me as my crock pots. In fact, I think I have a buffet server that's got 3 crock pots, and then I have Lord, probably 3 other crock pots, and then I have the small one for queso dips and things like that. So we have a lot of crock
You
pots,
do.
but we use them. Not like we don't use them. I do use my crock pot. All right, let me see if I can get this rethreaded while we're doing this. So we did get some new projects going. We've got some new stuff coming in. That's always fun. And trying to see what makes sense there. All right, look at that. Yeah, I did that right. All right, let's see. And this goes back up here. Sorry, guys, I am trying to do both. All right. Doesn't seem like I've had to rethread this machine very often, so it's still new enough that I am trying to.
Jordy says she loves all food.
Joy is a girl after my own heart, I tell you. Yeah, because we like a lot of variety. We go for Chinese some on Friday nights after work. We have a particular place in town that we love. We actually have gotten to know the owner in that, who is super, super sweet and always takes good care of us. Um, I always have liked my Mexican. Like I said, we just found this new one, so hopefully that will become more of a regular for us. Um, and then we actually have what's called My Daddy's Bakery here in town, which is pretty cool. It's an Italian old family style bakery, and so as such, they um, they have some pretty good stuff. They actually have take and bake pizzas that we do sometimes,
Yeah.
and they have pasta, but we have not tried their pasta, and they have sub sandwiches that we seem to enjoy. Jody says she loves the colors in the quilt to my right. So that is my Virginia Tech quilt. That is actually for me. It is the first quilt that I have done for myself, and it's going to be it's bigger than a lap quilt, but my lap's bigger than a normal person, anyways. But that's going to be for me in the family room when we watch TV at night, because man, he likes to run the fan, and the cold air blows just right to blow across my knees, and even in the summertime, I've got to keep something on my knees. All right, I'm gonna roll over here because I got to grab a piece of scrap so I can make sure that I've got that put back together right.
Loane says I have to decide one fast food takeout dinner or a week's worth of groceries.
Right, that's the problem. We have started to realize we can get a lot of groceries. I mean, everybody talks about how much groceries have gone up, but I can still get a lot of groceries and a lot of meals compared to eating out one time. So we have really tried to cut back on eating out. Um, Even at the park home, we bought everything up there so we can cook when we go up there. Um, I don't know. It just
But wanting the pillowcases that she made for a friend.
oh, that would really be cool. Yeah, we. It's funny. We just talked the other day. I need to probably make some more pillowcases because we don't have what we need necessarily to match our bed. And I told Curtis, I said, if he goes and picks the fabric, I could actually just make the pillowcases. So that is probably on the horizon as well. All right. Hmm. Oh my goodness. Now, all right. I think I'm all back together. Now I can sew and talk again. All right. So let's see. But now we're thinking about what projects we want to work on and get going. Um, 'Cause there's so much going on this summer. I want to make sure that I have stuff done. Like these are Christmas quilts that I'm making, so I'm trying to get ahead of the curve on that, especially because these folks will be in Arizona for Christmas. So trying to get on the curve of that. Next weekend, I'm hoping to finally take some of the stuff we need for me to be able to sew and work on projects at the park home. Hoping that happens next weekend. We're supposed to go up. I'm hoping Thursday after work. So we'll be up there all weekend and have fun stuff going on. So it has just been kind of crazy. As you know, I love Villa Rosa. Villa Rosa just sent me a bunch of new patterns, and I bought a bunch of um, jelly rolls. I couldn't think of the word jelly. Jelly rolls from Fat Quarter Shop that they had on sale, and I got some amazing things from them. And so I'm hoping to go through some of the Villa Rosa patterns and find one or two that I can start with that. And then that doesn't even count all the kits I have. But I really would like to do something besides just a kit because I'd like to be able to think I'm refining my skills better than I am. But even Curtis will tell you he hadn't heard a sewing machine much this week with work.
No.
So it is funny. Work does seem to interfere with my sewing time. And Russ had mentioned a while back that he was trying to get 30 minutes a day on his machine. And I thought that really just made sense because, like, who can't find 30 minutes? And I'll be honest, by the time I get home, it's not even about just finding the 30 minutes. It's about, am I even in the mood to sit down and sew? Because it's just, I come home stressed. There's so much going on at work. And just by the time we do dinner and that, I just want to veg. Um, we'll see. I did find a new movie tonight that I want to watch called Unfrosted. It is a Melissa McCarthy movie, and it is on Netflix, I think. And it is about the cereal wars between Post and Kellogg's. So we will probably watch that tonight. And then I just saw that, what is her name in Hacks?
Jean Smart.
Jean Smart. I was going to say Jean Stapleton. I knew it wasn't her. Jean Smart, who won several awards for her comedic stand up show called Hacks on HBO, just dropped season 3. But as always, they're releasing 2 a week. So we may wait a week or so before we start that. We've got that going on, and we've got George and Mary going on Stars. And so we'll see that. But that's kind of our time together, and it's an opportunity just to kind of veg out because sometimes um, you just need time just to veg and not think about something a whole lot. after working and some of the schedules that we keep in that, it's just interesting how that goes. Look how cool these are turning out.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Trina says, I've got get started on a quilt for my friend's grandchild. The 6-year-old fell on her face in the barn, broke her orbital bone, can't open her eye fully, and she's just starting to move her eye.
Oh man, that's awful. What an awful story. Poor kid.
Famous celebrity story I have to tell them about. Now I can't remember what it was.
Mm.
They've got a lot going on, and I can't. Oh, yes, I do remember. It's Martha Stewart. So Jordy. Here's the story about that. I was visiting some friends many years ago who live in Maine. They live in Bar Harbor, and Martha Stewart has a home right off of Bar Harbor, Maine, in a coastal location called Seal Harbor. It sits way up on top of a mountain, and I believe it was the Henry Ford mansion at one point in time. But anyway, she's renovated it and whatnot. And one of my friends at one point worked in one of the convenience stores in Bar Harbor. And Martha came in and she was buying some products for some home renovators at her house. And she got very impatient and went to the front of the line in front of all of these people that were getting checked out. And this friend of mine said, Miss Stewart, you need to go to the end of the line and wait your turn. All these other people waiting have been waiting very patiently to get checked out. You can't just come up in front of them. And she looked at my friend and got very angry. And she says, "You obviously don't know who I am and the clout that I have." She said, "If you don't ring me up for my purchase right now, I will have you fired." And she says, "You do whatever you need to do, Martha." But she says, "I'm taking the next customer behind you because they were technically in front of you." So Martha threw all of her stuff at my friend, the cashier, and stormed out and made a big scene as she was going out. So that's a Martha Stewart story that I have for you guys.
Oh, it's always crazy.
Yes.
Katrina, I'm glad to see she's showing improvement. How crazy is that? That's the thing with kids. You just never know what's going to happen with kids. I was really fortunate. My kids had a few stitches here and there. Never broke anything. And it was interesting when we were playing t-ball. My son was probably about 5, and we were talking to it was a husband and wife coach, and I think they had 3 children, and we were talking about all the bumps and scrapes of boys, and how boys are boys, and she laughed and she goes, "Yeah, well, that one's broken its arm, that one's broken its leg, that one was born with a hole in its heart, that one." I was like, "Okay, you just got to stop." I mean, like, I just it's just funny how you forget how fortunate you are with your own, because sometimes we like to have our pity parties, and then you hear a story like that's just crazy. Oh, look at that! Katrina said her youngest had cancer at 4 months. Oh, Katrina, I just can't imagine what type of experience that would have been like. I mean, we had a good support system and good family and all of that, but I mean, I just can't imagine um, the emotional terror trying to go through that and deal with doctors and basically a non-communicative baby, right? I mean, at 4 months old, poor thing can't even tell you what's going on, and I don't know. It's so scary. It's interesting. We have 4 grandchildren, 2 that we see quite frequently. We're taking 2 of them to the beach, and every now and then my daughter will say something, and I'm like, "You do remember I raised you, right? I mean, like, I was there with you, but I can tell you, I am so glad she's raising them and not me." It's you know, I, it the order is correct, right? As far as we get to be this age, this is the fun age where we just get to spoil them. Because yes, my daughter sometimes goes, "Who are you? I don't even know you." I'm like, "I'm still the same person. It's just different because now I don't have to be the one to disappoint them or the ones to figure this out or that." And I love my grandchildren. We have such a good time together. And even though we only get to see them a couple of times a year because of the distance, my daughter has done such a good job with making sure they know us and we FaceTime and she sends us pictures. It was interesting. She sent me pictures today, Mr. Curtis,
Oh, she did?
of the kids eating for the first time. We bought them the Ninja Creamy for
Oh,
Christmas, and we loved our Ninja Creamy, so I bought it for her. And but for some reason in her mind, she had thought it was going to be much more complicated to do than it actually is. And so I left my phone's over on the other side, but she had made I think chocolate ice cream, and they added chocolate chips as a mix in and
oh, nice.
M&Ms.
Oh,
And the children were very happy with it. So she said she would probably start doing that more, especially eventually it's going to get warm in Virginia. I think today it was actually cold up there.
oh, very
Well, that was exciting. Oh, did Mona take off?
nice. Whoops.
Bye, Mona. So now, all right, so I got the U of L done, and now we're going to work on the Marines for Simplify. And so it is nice to actually feel like I am finally getting some sewing accomplished and some things done. I tell you what, if you watch Stephanie stitches, it's just the projects and the things that she knocks out is just amazing. And like I said, I've learned so much watching her channel, and she has got such a good, cute personality. But it's I get jealous of the projects that and I think, okay, she's a mom, she's got these kids, she's got this, all these other responsibilities and everything else going on, yet she makes it look so simple. It's like, how do people do that and make this look so simple and uh, uncomplicated? Where for me, it just feels so complicated at times. But we will get there and we will get it done. And just like that. So eventually I will get this quilt along with the other 14 quilt tops I have ready over on this long arm machine. And I am going to long arm them because I want to be able to say I did this quilt from start to finish. I cut every piece, I put every sewed all the piecing together, and then I did the long arm. And I just need to find a time to really concentrate. Yeah, it's one of those things, just like my daughter with the Ninja Creamy, right? Uh, it's really not that complicated. I just updated because mine uses the Quilter's Creative Touch software, QCT, and they just came out with version 6. And actually, that was included I guess in the last purchase or something. So I was able to upgrade to the newest software version, which is pretty cool. And actually, I think it made some things simpler than before. And so now I just need to look at um, really spending the day. I think it's one of those things, if I would spend a day, get one or two on and off that um, machine, that I would be able to start long arming a whole lot more. And if you all want to encourage Curtis to learn how to long arm, that would even be a royal blessing, right? I mean, because long arming is really not that difficult. It's more about I think just getting it, on the machine properly and all that, and then making sure as you turn, because ours is a QCT 21.
Mhm.
So I'm usually able to do 2 rows, maybe 3 before we have to turn it. So again, it's just learning all of that and feeling comfortable with it. But we will get there. I did not do that well. Another little nap. Oh, actually, I did that okay. Didn't think that was going to work out so well. So next week for us, Monday, I go back to work, obviously. Tomorrow, then we'll head up to hopefully the park home on Thursday after work. be up there all weekend. So next Sunday, hopefully the live will be from up there. I am told that they are hoping to have all the painting done outside. They are hoping to have the underpinning all back on because we replaced it. And he didn't say a porch, but I'm hoping the porch is done because Curtis thinks we may have to jump in and out of the trailer. I know the driveway is poured, so that is done. And he said the awning may be up, which means then the only thing left for us is the screened in, the screen room that they're building, and a privacy fence. So we're anxious. We haven't been up there since April 10th. So it literally has been over a month since we've seen what I paid for and where my money is sitting. So really kind of anxious to see what they've been able to accomplish and what that looks like. And kind of anxious just to get up there and see what my sewing table's going to look like and my cutting table and all of that. So hopefully we have room. This trip is not as loaded as the last trip. We had so much stuff in the car going up that I could not see. Fortunately, I just have sensors all over the car to drive. So let's hope this trip is not as wild. So, Stephanie, we have had this long arm. I bought it last August, September.
I think so. Yeah.
So I bought it from one of the ladies in Quilt Club who moved into an apartment. It is, I think it was 2 or 3 years old. I think she only did 4 quilts on it as part of the problem. So it's basically brand new. It is the Grace Unique. I have done 1 quilt on it and did get that done, did get it binded, and it worked out pretty well. And it's just me trying to understand in my mind really more about how to load on the frame in that because we have the king size frame. I think we have it open to 10 foot versus 12. Um, and it's just, it's just one of those things. I owned an embroidery business for years and were able to do run commercial embroidery machines. So it's like, I can do that. I can do um, the embroidery software. I mean, all those type of things. So it's like I'm not I'm not uneducated around it, but it does take a little confidence in just getting through that first one. And we will get there. I know we will. We have to, right? I got too much money sitting there. Oh, so Stephanie says she has the Q21. That's awesome. See, I may hit you up before it's over with.
Lorraine asked if it's manual or computer run. Computer run.
It is. It is all computer run. So last, December of 21, 22,
22.
I bought the Handy Quilter 16 sit down long arm, and that was all manual. And I'll be honest, I can free motion on that like a madman. I really enjoy that. That's why this Valentine table runner I was showing you, I did that on that one because to me it was just as easy to do it on that and knock it out very quick versus trying to ever load it on this thing. So I really bought this to do right the quilts, the big pieces, and that. Um, and we just haven't got there. It's one of those things where I've just had to be mentally prepared. And last summer I was spending most of the time looking for a new job, new position. I got that, and then it was getting adjusted to going back to work full time after being off all summer without a job, and getting that part of my life, kind of going again. And then that worked pretty well. And I mean, we were, um, and then the worst thing for us is the holidays. The fall holidays are really just crazy. Curtis is not a fan of Halloween. I am. And we typically put Halloween up, October 1st?
Mhm.
and it usually takes about a week to get all my Halloween stuff up. He counts down literally every day because he can't wait till November 1st, where all the Halloween comes down and we start flipping the house for Christmas. Someone did say this year they acquiesced and said that we could actually put Halloween up like the third week of September. So we can put Halloween up a little bit earlier than we have in the past. But again, it's one more thing to do. We have a big Halloween party every year. We like having those type of parties. We have Christmas parties. We have a cookie exchange. We have the neighbors over for a Christmas open house. And last year I had the quilt club ladies. I had some of the ladies over for a lunch, and then they also asked after um, the Christmas luncheon if we would open our house and let the women come through and tour for um, wow, why am I just completely lost?
They were asking when they came to tour the house, right?
Right.
And then what were you going to say?
Oh, they and then so they came to tour the house after the Christmas lunch. They like to have like an open house, a couple of homes that are decorated. They ask us to be one of those. So we had what about 150 women come through in
Yeah.
2 hours to see all the decoration. And yes, we do go way over the top, and that's okay. That's what we enjoy. But so it just wasn't the right mindset to try to get on the long arm, and then I don't know. It's been a busy, busy year, it seems like. But I have got to get there because Grace needs to earn her keep. She wasn't cheap and she needs to pay for herself. And eventually, I wouldn't even mind trying to make a little profit off of her and making her do some of the things um, for other people. What's going on in the chat, Curtis?
Um, it looks like they were talking a little bit among themselves. I always, Luane says, I know it's dumb, but I always ask when someone has labels on the quilt, did they put the person, the name of the long arm if it was computer long arm? Stephanie says, happy to help. My only complaint with it is that was no help to get started, so it was slow to start, but happy to help anyone. So now that they don't have, so that they don't have to struggle. So it looks like they were just chatting among themselves about the long.
So, Lorraine, I will tell you in our um, quilt quilt guild, if you especially if you're entering our show, you do have to on the label put who did the pattern and that, but you also have to put who the long armor was. So you have to give credit to that group, uh, who whoever was your long armor. And I would think that that's probably a standard practice. I just sewed that completely crooked after I sit here and thought I ripped it out. How crazy is that? Now I feel like Sean when he's on and he's always got his um, seam ripper out. I haven't had to seam rip too much on these quilts. They have seemed to go together pretty well. And Stephanie, I appreciate that. So I may reach out at some point. I think part of it is just just taking the time to really kind of study what I have and what's going on with it. I did notice with the new QCT software, they actually had like a cheat sheet that I was able to download that seemed like it um, helped along as far as what the setup should look like and kind of stair stepping you through. So I'm hoping that actually helps. But again, I just haven't spent the time to get there yet. So, what do you all got going on next week? What's going on? Oh, Katrina says her long armor does about half the um, quilts at Quilt Fest. I've got, I know folks that do long arming. They make pretty decent money, and man, they could just slap it on and just go to town, right? I mean, and part of that's just experience, right? And I will get there. I know in talking to Russ, I think he sometimes gets frustrated getting over to his even. And It's just, there's so much out there, and I don't think people really appreciate and understand how much is involved in trying to quilt. It's not just something as simple as running a machine up and down um, a seam. It's cutting the fabrics, it's piecing the fabrics, it's blah 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 blah. It's like, oh my gosh, it just goes on and on and on. But we'll get there. So what else? What have I missed this weekend? I will tell you, with the Derby party yesterday, I did not get to see any lives. I am totally behind now and want to get caught up on others and what they're doing. So tell me what you're seeing on some of the other channels and what's been happening. I know Lawayne is getting very seasoned at his. I did see a little bit from him the other day. I think Lawayne is up to three, four, maybe five now. Trina says she could do up to three quilts in a day now.
Wayne needs to find a reasonably priced LAQ to do the TMQ quilts, as it's too big for it.
Yeah, I get that. That's why we ended up getting our own. But I tell you, you just don't realize how much time it takes to get them up, get them going. Mm,
How long did you want to go until?
five, is that okay, honey?
Yeah. Yeah, I
Okay.
just wasn't sure what you were thinking.
Yeah, honey, I like to do about an hour, honey. Katrina said, so Becca finished the carnival quilt and off kilter Ian was binding a quilt today. Ian always cracks me up. That has got to be the happiest dude. Um, and I love when he gets, um, when something just hits him the right way and he just can't quit laughing. Um, I have not done the carnival quilts. I've looked at them. I did get that new quilt kit with the animals that I thought was so adorable. I'm hoping to do that. Oh, Stephanie says she started the Underground Railroad quilt series. I bet that's going to be a beautiful quilt when it's done. I I like the nostalgia of some of that. It's interesting being here in Arizona. It's interesting. We had one of the Indian groups from up north come and talk to the Quilt Guild. They were showing how they used to take, just little pieces of anything to build these quilts out and how they piece together. There's actually a book that's been published about them and how that all went together. And what was interesting is the women did the cooking, cleaning, and all that, but quilting was considered a skilled trade, and the men were all the quilters, which was kind of interesting. Karina said, I loved his bee story today. That is so him. See, I'll have to watch that because that's just Ian's always just makes me laugh. I enjoy Becca on Friday nights sometimes. I don't always catch her on Friday nights. Just depends on what we have going, but it is kind of a nice way to kind of kick into the weekend. All right, what's that word, Curtis?
Which word? I'm still stitching on the Moravian Star for a Secret Santa gift. Is that
Oh,
the one?
yes.
61-inch diamonds, halfway done.
Oh my
And it's
gosh.
happy.
61-inch diamonds. I cannot imagine. Mm, I cannot imagine what that looks like. It's interesting because one of the ladies that came to um, the party yesterday actually had taken my block of the month that I was working on, and we had started on that January one, and she brought the completed blocks to me yesterday. So she managed to get all of those done because I was struggling so much a couple of months ago trying to get these together because I've just not been used to this small piecing. But I will get there. So, but I appreciate it that she took those and put them together. One of the things that we did find out is John can't read a ruler and doesn't know the difference between an eighth of an inch and a quarter of an inch sometimes. And so that was part of the problem. But since then, we've corrected some of that. And Now I understand not only does a 1/4 inch seam allowance really actually matter at the end of the day, but so does accurate measurements. So I am trying to do much better on how I measure and put things together because it does matter. And it's hard sometimes to believe, like, does it really make that big a difference? And you know what? It does make that big a difference. So um, I am getting there. I am putting up with it. And at the end of the day, we will make it happen and we'll make it look good because I'm very happy, very proud how this Virginia Tech quilt pump came together. I'm really happy how this pattern is coming together. My points are starting to get much better lined up. And so as I do these type of things, it does make it all work better together. So how crazy is all that? So,
Oh,
oh, look at poor Steph.
and Stephanie says, don't forget to give Guys Craft 2 a thumbs up below this video. Oh, that's sweet. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Stephanie. See, she's been around long enough. She remembers some of these things. It's because for us, it's just all still new. Actually,
Lisa Rose just joined. She says, hello, chat. How's everyone today?
oh, hey, Lisa Rose, how are you? So yesterday, I actually jumped on the front porch, did my first YouTube short right before the guests came, talking about the Derby party and that we were ready. So that was interesting. So because I had not figured out how to do a short, but I did manage to get one out in online yesterday. So it's we're trying to sew, we're trying to learn technology, we're trying to do things that's a little bit different than what we do for a living or on a day-to-day basis. Thank you, Katrina. I tell you what, you don't realize how fast 15 seconds goes or 30 seconds. Like, okay, but it was our first one. I'm hoping to do more of those. I'm hoping to be able to do some shorts with the grandkids when we go to the beach this year. And so, because I know they would be so excited to be able to see themselves, and especially my granddaughter, because she is absolutely the biggest ham ever. My grandson's actually a little bit more introverted, so it'll be interesting. It depends on his mood. He runs on moods, and he is definitely a mama's boy. So he is the baby, and Mama likes having a baby. So it's interesting, and it's okay. Mama was my baby, so I understand how she feels about that. All right, all right. Look, I actually got both of these completed. So now all I have to do is go back and put the one, two, three, four, five sections together. Need to press these all back out, and then I will have that quilt going. So now I have both of those quilts. Won't take long to, once I get this section done, as you all know, right? It's the borders actually go on pretty quick. So that is exciting. I am glad to finally um, have all of that going. It has just been crazy. So, folks, we so appreciate each and every one of you. We appreciate you dropping in. We appreciate the fact that you like to listen to us kind of ramble on, and always appreciate the chat. First, you have anything, Dad?
No, nothing today.
All right. So with that, we're going to wrap up our um, live, and hopefully we will see you next Sunday from the park home. We'll probably post a couple of recorded videos during the week because you know me, I do tend to shop a little bit, and I do like to kind of do the unboxing and have those going. I am really, really, really trying to cut back. You have to admit, packages don't show up as frequently now, but we still do have some packages showing up.
Katrina says, Curtis, have a great weekend. Join us next week.
Right?
Well, we'll see. I like to kind of just pop in and out. We'll see what I have going on at the park home. If there's nothing going on, then yes, I definitely will join. I do a lot of I do a lot of household chores a lot of times while John does his lives. Like I'm usually doing laundry so that we can get our clothes ready for the week and different things like that. So I'm always kind of moving around and around. But I definitely will try to be here next week. Yes.
All right, guys. Thank you all so much. Thanks for dropping in, and we will see you next week.
Bye bye.
Oh, my mouse broke. All right, let's see. There we go. Bye.